God has a purpose in our lives that we learn the basics of our spiritual walk. We have to learn the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s of our spiritual walk if we are ever going to grow in our faith. Because everything about our Christian life and everything about who we are and what we're going to do going forward is going to be based off of the things that we learn in the rudimentary areas of our Christian walk. To go anywhere in our growth or to become anything in the kingdom requires that we have these basic elements in our life. We must have faith. We cannot please God. We cannot see God. We cannot know God without faith. We come to Him and we learn of faith, and that faith is a process. We want to follow the process that God has given us in faith. And we see in the life of Abraham that the faith that he had was a long-term thing, that it was a process in his life of growing and knowing God. And so what we are looking at in this series of lessons is what we are going to add to our faith. Faith, the belief in God, and the response in our life to that belief is not the end of our walk. Just the fact that I believe that there's a God, just the fact that I have a conscious revelation that there is a God is not the end of my walk. Faith begins our course and our relationship. It starts our course in our relationships. But there are things that must be added to our faith, things that we must grow in so that we can become more like Jesus. God does not desire that His people be saved and then remain like the world. That's not His desire. He does not want us entangled with the sins that He is trying to bring us out of. He doesn't want us bound to the ways that we were saved from. And so the purpose of salvation is to change our lives so that we walk, talk, act, and live like Jesus did. That's the purpose of salvation. This is a process of growing in Jesus. He told us that the process of growing in Him would be that we would listen to and obey His Word. That's what He told us the process was like. He said, He likened it in a parable. He said, it's like a foolish man that heard my words but did not do them. It's like a man that built his house upon the sand. And the man that built his house upon the rock is likened unto a man that heard my words and did them. And so the process of building a house, my friend, I have built 3 houses now, and it is a long process. There is a foundation. Well, there's a lot that goes before even the foundation. You have to prep the ground. You got to do a lot of work before you ever walk into that house and say, I'm going to spend the night here. It takes a lot of work before you ever get there. And so the parable or the vision that Jesus gives us of building the house upon the rock or building the house upon the sand is the process of your life. That's your life. He's not talking about building a house. He's saying you're living your life, and in your life you're going to build your life either on a foundation that is going to stand true or a foundation that's going to fail you. And so if you're going to build your house on a foundation that will be true and that will make it through the tests of life, then you've got to obey my word. And that's a process. Every day as we learn more of God, the house grows. And the house becomes a building that God desires that we would live in. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on Philadelphia. Philadelphia. It says, and to godliness, brotherly kindness. That word, brotherly kindness, is the word Philadelphia. If you did not know that. Philadelphia means brotherly kindness. Now, when we think of Philadelphia, we don't normally think of being nice to people. We think of the city of Philadelphia. As Americans, we think of the city of Philadelphia. Now, if you ask Philadelphia, they say they're the city of brotherly love. But that's not what really that city is known for. It's a bit of a hard industrial city. It's a beat you up and rob you kind of place. That's not brotherly kindness. Probably this is what a lot of people would envision when they think about people treating other people. People doing things with other people. You see, brothers are not always the nicest things. Brothers are not always the nicest people. They don't always take care of those that are younger than them. Now, I am an older brother. I have a younger sister and I have a younger brother. And I wasn't too hard on my younger brother and sister. I didn't pick on them a lot. But brothers are supposed to watch over and protect those that are in their families. That's what brothers are for. You know, brothers can fight among themselves, but you ever fight with one brother, you're going to fight with all of them. That's just the way it is. When we think of brotherly kindness, we have certain images that come to our mind. People that help other people. You see someone in need and you help them. That's brotherly kindness. We have compassion on people. We are there to help people. We're there to give them whatever needs that they might have. We see somebody broken down on the side of the road and we pull over to change their tire. We see somebody in the grocery store that is having a bad day. We talk with them. We show some brotherly kindness. We show some compassion. There's a care to ensure that they are well. And when they're not well, we do what we can to help them. This is especially true in the church. The people in the church should take care of one another. That's very important, that we take care of each other in the church. We should display a care, a genuine care and concern for everybody in the church. Not just for my family, but for those that are not a part of my immediate family. There should be a genuine care and a genuine compassion for them. We should be as a family, as a body. That's what we're supposed to do. 1 Corinthians 12, verses 12 through 13, and I did not give you this one, Jonathan. It says, "For as the body is one and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. For by one Spirit are we baptized into one body." You've been baptized? Yeah. Then you're all baptized into the same body. Whether they be Jew or Gentile, whether we be bond or free, and have all been made to drink into one Spirit. So we were baptized into one body. We were filled with the same Spirit. And so we become, as Paul would say, we are one body. Even though we are different people in the church, we are all part of the same body. We work together to accomplish the same things. We should love each other and care for each other just as much as we care for ourselves. In a body, I have broken my collarbone before. Collarbone's not a big bone. It's not a very big bone. But you break that collarbone and your whole body will hurt. Your feet will hurt. That thing hurts when it's broken. I never forget I was 16 years old and I was laying on that hospital bed as they were rolling me into the x-ray, and I'm thinking, man, would you just shoot me? This hurts. It was intense pain. And you get something like that. I've had 2 kidney stones. Now, I'd break my collarbone before I'd do that kidney stone thing again. But a body, when one hurts, everybody should hurt. Everybody should feel the pain of that one person that is going through the thing. We should have care and compassion. Jesus said it this way. He said in John 13, verse 35, "By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one for another." That is the way that people are going to know that you're a Christian and that you belong to Jesus, because you love the people that are a part of your body, that you have love one for another. That's how they're going to know that you are a Christian. If we do not love one another, then it reasons that we don't love Jesus. and we're not a part of the body. If we cannot love one another, then it just points to reason that we're not a part of the body. That is the important part of brotherly kindness. But it reaches beyond us. It's more than just the people that are here. What good is it to love the people here and forget about the people who have not had the opportunity to know this salvation or to know our God? What good is brotherly kindness just among us if we don't have the care and the compassion to reach outside of our walls? We have to show brotherly kindness to everyone. We cannot treat people differently at all whatsoever. We must love every person as if they were a part of us. We must care for them as if they were a part for us. This is the calling of the church. That's the calling of this church. That's what this church is supposed to do. That's what this church is going to do. We are going to love people, and we're going to reach people. And we're not going to have cliques, and we're not going to have groups, and we're not going to have this family does these things together. No. We are a church. We love each, and people come in here. It doesn't matter rich, poor. It doesn't. Mayor Irene, your friend that you invited, she can come in however she wants to come in. She doesn't have to have the fancy. We're not here in a fashion show. We're not here in all that. We are here to love people, and we accept people as they are, so that we can help them to grow into who God wants them to be. That's what this church is about. That's who we are. That is the foundation of this church. And I'm telling you as pastor, that will always be the foundation of this church as long as I am pastor. That is the commandment and the calling of God to this church. To love people as He loved them and bring them into this saving gospel. Now there's another side of this that I want to discover with you. We know these things about brotherly kindness. What I have spoken to you so far is nothing new. It's nothing that you haven't heard before or been preached to before or couldn't on your own come to the conclusions that I have told you. These are the truths that we associate with brotherly kindness. Loving each other and caring for the needs that we have in the church, and caring for people that do not know Jesus, reaching them with this truth and loving them and meeting their needs. That's the brotherly kindness that we know. That's the vision that we have of brotherly kindness. That's the vision we have. But as I was studying for this message, God brought my attention to another portion of brotherly kindness that is disregarded by us. It's a part of brotherly kindness that we are not very good at. It's a part that I have seen forgotten more by the people inside the church than the people outside the church. It's something that we must ensure that is not a part of who we are or what we do in this church. It cannot be a part of us. So in order to bring this topic to you, we need to look at a parable in the Bible. Luke chapter 15. We're going to be looking at verses 11 basically through the rest of the chapter. Parable we're very familiar with. Luke chapter 15, starting with 11 through 13, he says, "And he said, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. Not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his sustenance with riotous living." I want to look at this parable so that we might discover the message and what we need to learn about brotherly kindness. We know that the place that this son lived in was a place where he had a good life. He had a good life. Just a little boy playing in the dirt, running outside, doing the things that a little boy does. There were things in this home that met his needs. He had food on the table. He had a roof over his head. He did not lack for anything as a child growing up in this house. He was well taken care of in the Father's house in every way. His father has what appears to be a certain amount of wealth. He had enough that he was able to have a certain amount of inheritance for his children. He had enough money that he could store some money away for his children. And he was wise enough that he would go ahead and set that money aside for a day when he would give to his children their portion of the inheritance. And then he was kind enough to think about blessing his children, blessing his family after his departure so that they had something to help them from the abundance of his blessings. So that's the home that this child grows up in. That's the home that this son grows up in. But at some point in his young adult life, the son wanted what was out there more than he wanted what was in the Father's house. The world that was out there appealed to him in a way that made him want to go and see what is it like out there. I've lived in the Father's house all of my life. I've known only the Father's way of doing things. I've known only the things that are here. And I see the things that are out there, and there's something out there that I want more than what is inside my Father's house. I don't know if he had gone to the city with his dad to go get supplies. I don't know how he got there and saw those things and looked on those things. But whatever it was, he was exposed to them. And something about them, watching the people run around, seeing all those young men and women that seemed to be having so much fun and doing all of the good things that seemed so pleasurable to him, he decided in his heart and in his mind that he wanted to go try that. Somehow he looked at what he had and what was out there, and he felt like he needed to go and get his fill of that fun too. And so he came to his father and he asked the father for his part of the inheritance. It must have broke the father's heart to have his son come and say, "Dad, I want my inheritance. I want my money." Well, son, that was meant for another day. That's meant for when you have a family. Son, that's meant for when you want to start your own home. I set this. No, Dad, I want my money now. Well, son, why do you want your money now? Well, Dad, I want to go to the city. What are you going to do in the city, son? I want to go have fun, Dad. I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to be in your house anymore. I don't want to be here anymore, Dad. I see all the things that are out there, Dad, and I want to go out there. But son, don't you understand? Yes, Dad, I know all about that. I see all of that stuff, but Dad, I want to go. It had to have broke the father's heart to see his son make such a foolish choice in his life. He was not staying with the father anymore. And he was not going to be a part of the family anymore. He was going to move away from the father, and he was going to a place where the father could not protect him, where the father could not watch over him, where the father could not do anything to help him. He was going to the city, away from the father. It hurt him that the draw of the world that was out there was greater than his devotion to the family that he was raised in. So the son got his money and he headed to the city. And man, he had a great time. He had a great time. I don't know how much money this kid had, but when he walked into that city, he could do anything he wanted to. And let me tell you, he threw some parties. And he had some friends. And the girls came running. And he probably had 3, 4, 5 girlfriends, and he had friends galore. And he became a very popular person. He became somebody that people wanted to know and people wanted to hang out. Hey, let's go over to Joe's tonight. He's doing this. Let's go over to Joe's. He's got this going on. Did you realize what Joe? Let's go see Joe. Let's go over. Let's be with Joe. Look what's going on. And they all came, and they were all there. And man, he had riotous living. Riotous living. He was a free spender. He threw parties. He had the best. He did everything. Man, he had a good time. He did everything and anything that his heart desired for him to do. But it was all at the expense of what his father had saved for him. It was all at the expense of his father's hard work, sweat, blood, and tears. He was spending everything that his father had given him. Hebrews 11:25 talks of sin having pleasure for a season. There is a time when sin is pleasurable. There is a time when sin is something that is fun to be involved in. There is a time when sin is something that you enjoy. I read an article years ago, and it was this guy, and it was called The Anatomy of an Affair. And he talks about how when you're first involved in that affair, how thrilling it is, how much fun it is, and how glorious it is to be involved in that. It's like being in love again. But he said there's going to come a time when that spouse finds out, their spouse or your spouse or both of them, and you're going to face a very angry man coming down your way. Or your wife is going to stand there and throw that wedding ring right back in your face. He said it comes to a point where it will come to a head and you will have to face what you have done. You will have to. You can't keep it that way forever. You will have to face it. Sin is pleasurable for a season, but it comes to an end. It comes to an end. It comes to a place where the enjoyment is over. And that's what happened to this young man. The pleasure ended when the money ended, and so did all of the friends. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in the land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself unto a citizen of the country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. He had nothing. He was so destitute. He didn't have a home to sleep in. He didn't have anything. He barely had the clothes on his back. And he was so destitute that he was eating from the garbage can. He was rummaging through the garbage can of the food, the slop that was given to the pigs. And that's what he ate, because he could not get anything. It says, no man gave unto him. Where are all your friends now? Where are all those people that were your best friends that, man, wherever you went, they were right there with you. They patted you on the back. They told you how good you were. They told you everything about your life, being such a great guy. Where are all those girls now? Where's all those beautiful women that were hanging around you and wanted to be your girlfriend? Where are they now? Why isn't one of them sitting right next to you in the pig pen to help you along? Why isn't she right there? She loved you so much. She told you so much about her devotion. Where is everybody now? Where is everybody? The party is over, my friend. The party has come to an end. There is no more party for you. There is no more high life. There is no more joy. And you can't go back down to the bank and pull any money out of there. You've got nothing left. And all you can do, the only job you can get, is feeding the pigs And you're so thankful just to be able to do that because that's the only food that you're going to get. What a disgusting position to be in. Right. Homeless and eating from the garbage can. Trying to make it day to day and barely surviving. No one to help you. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father's house, and will say unto the Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. While he was sitting in the pig pen, while he was sitting there one day, and he's eating on whatever he can get out of that slop bucket, and he's watching the pigs roaming around him, it comes to him. I remember back home. I remember the servants back home. And the servants had better clothes than this. And the servants, they had a place to sleep. Back at my dad's house, Dad fed the servants bread every day. They had more bread than they needed. Man, back at my dad's house, the servants had it so good. I'm not worthy to be called a son anymore. I'm not worthy to be called my dad's son. And I'm going to go back to Dad's house. I'm going to ask Dad, would you take me back? Would you just let me be a servant in the house? I'm not asking you to make me your son. I just want to be a servant. I know Dad's a nice guy. I know he'll let me work his fields. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Dad had been in that window day after day, looking down that long road, saying, when's my son going to come home? I've been watching, I've been waiting. He'd get up in the morning, he'd go and he'd peek out that window and he'd look down that dusty road and there would be no sun. He would go about his business for the day, but he'd always go back to that window and he'd look down that window and where is my son? Where is my son? What's my son doing today? What is my son a part of today? How is my son doing? I don't know if my son is alive. I don't know if my son is dead. I don't know if the people in the city have heard him. I don't know what's going on with my son. I know where my son is, and I know my son is in a dangerous place. But I look every day. He would get up every day, and he would look down the road. He would look down the trail, and he would look to see his son coming. Every day, his heart ached every day that his son was gone. But one day, he looked out that window and he saw a figure of somebody that was coming down the road, and they didn't look anything like his son. They didn't look anything like his son, but there was something about him, the way he walked, the way he carried himself, the way he held his stature together. He knew instantly, that's my son. My son. And man, out the door he ran, and he came running down the trail as fast as he could go. He ran to his son, and his son stopped him, and he said, Dad, I'm not worthy to be your son anymore. Look at me, Dad. I'm wretched. The stink of him must have got to his dad long before his dad ever got to him. And he looked at his dad, and he said, Dad, I'm just not worthy to be your son anymore. But Dad, if you'll take me back, if you let me back in, Dad, I'll be a servant. I'll work your fields, Dad. I won't complain, Dad. I won't say anything. I won't do anything, Dad. I just need a place to stay. I just want a place that I can call home. I just want a place to lay my head. I just want some bread to eat, Dad. Would you please take me back? Would you please let me back in the house? Would you please put me in the servant's quarter, Dad? I'm not worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. He didn't even have shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. He said, son, my son has come home. My son that was lost, my son that was dead, my son that was not a part of this house anymore. My son has come back. My son is back in the fold. My son is back where he belongs. My son is alive. He said to his son, it doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you've done. You are my son, and you will always be my son. I would never take you as a servant, but you're coming back into the house. Put a robe on him, and put a ring on his finger, and put shoes on his feet. And servants, you go and you get the fatted calf. We're going to throw a party. We're going to have a big feast because my son has come back. He fell. He did wrong. He took everything that I gave him and he wasted it. And he made the biggest mistake of his entire life. But I'm the father, and that's my son. And when he turns and walks back down that dusty road, and he steps before me, and he asks forgiveness for what he's done, I'm taking him right back in. And I'm going to make him my son again, and I'm putting him back in his position. He's not a servant. He doesn't belong as a servant. He's my son. Here's our lesson for today. Brotherly kindness is a very easy thing when everything's going good. Brotherly kindness is very easy when one of us is hurt and one of us is in need. Brotherly kindness is very easy when things are going well among the people of the church. That's brotherly kindness. We can do that very easily. It's not anything that is hard to us. We get together, we love each other, we do the things together, we go over to each other's homes and we play the games and we do all the things that we're supposed to do. When everything is right, brotherly kindness is a very easy thing to do. But what happens when somebody falls? Right. When they do something that hurts us, when they fall into sin and they walk away from God, what do we do then? And where do we show our brotherly kindness? Now the elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh into the house and heard the music and dancing, and he called to one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. And he was angry and would not go in. Not everyone is so pleased when the son returns from the sin. Not everyone receives them back into the house. Not everybody is happy about their return. Some brothers want them to become servants. Some brothers don't want them put back into the family where they ought to be. Some brothers want them to pay. Some brothers want them to have to go through misery. Some brothers want them to have to go through all kinds of shame and distrust. Some brothers want to do that to those that were in the family but left the family. They don't deserve it because they fell. Did you know that we in the church can become the cruelest people that you have ever met? That we in the church can be the most meanest, hard-hearted, vicious people that you have ever met. I have heard some things said in the church. I have had people say things in the church. I have been a part of it in the church. In the church. And when somebody makes a mistake, and somebody falls, and somebody doesn't do right, there's always those people that are more than willing to go find a stone And man, they can't wait for them to come crawling back. Because when they come crawling back, man, they're going to make sure that they feel the chastisement. They're going to make sure that they feel the wrath of the church, the wrath and the shunning and all of the things that go on inside the church, the gossiping behind the back, the telling of little secrets behind the back, the saying of certain, well, did you know that they did this? Well, did you know that while they were out there, they did these things and those things? Why would you tell such a thing? Why would you say such a thing about somebody that's trying to come back in the church? You're doing nothing but trying to hurt them. You're doing nothing but trying to make their misery even greater. And there are so many people that are out there that wouldn't even dare come back into the church because they know if they come back, there's people that are waiting on them. There's people that are just ready to do something to cause them more hurt and more pain. But church, brotherly kindness. It's so easy to love people when things are right. It's so easy to love people when everything is going so good. But what do you do when it's not?